Morning, everyone. Welcome to Cardano Q&A. We're kicking off with a look at a new NFT project called Periodic Table on Cardano. Dinesh, thank you for pointing that out. It looks very interesting. So let's have a quick rundown. We just had the thoughts around. So they've got an NFT project. Why would they need their own fungible token as well, which is like the coin for the project? You've got your NFTs, which are all individuals, and then you've got your coin for it that goes as well. And the question was why do protocols do this? And it's a particularly interesting part of our space because we accrue value in a project in many different ways. NFTs, obviously, they tend to have a single use case or point of reference. Like it can be an identity ID, like this NFT. So it might represent an individual who wants to associate themselves with a project, who needs a profile picture that they can share on social media, becomes a sort of pseudonymous public persona. And then the project needs its own additional currency to maybe attract more value. If they're going to have some store of value that's associated with the project that's beyond the individual holders' NFTs, like in this case, there's only, I can't even remember how many elements there are on the periodic table.
108.
108, thank you.
There's 68 of them are available.
Okay.
Well, since before I got into it, so there'll be around 60 available now.
Okay. And when you've got that limited a supply of an NFT range, then they tend to rise in value quite significantly if the project gets legs. But there's no real way of measuring how much attention the project is getting outside of those NFTs, unless you have some kind of store of value or additional projects get down the road. And so projects will often have a tokenomics model associated with their project, whether it is NFTs or whether it's something else in the crypto space, like a DEX or Launchpad. And that additional fungible token, is a way for everybody to become holders, because there is a large supply of fungible tokens typically, rather than a one of one, which represents an NFT. And so people can, if they like the look of the projects, if they don't manage to get an NFT in that first drop, they can go and get some of this element token in the case of the periodic table, just to show their interest in the project and their belief that the project's attention will rise. And attention is as valuable a commodity these days as anything. So if a project can garner attention, then they can possibly have advertising. They can possibly become a platform for education or highlighting what's going on in the space. And so this fungible token attached element is a way of just investing in a project without actually having one of the core assets, which would be these NFTs. So Dinesh just jumped in, grabbed one, and yeah, we were sharing. Sometimes it's just a bit of fun. It's good to get hold of. Price extortionate, and you never know where it can go. It's nice to speculate, and it once you're bought into something, you then pay attention to it, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, it was just seemed like if you got a science background and you think, oh wow, that is something you learned in the school a long time ago, and it sounds like a good idea to hold as an NFT.
Yeah.
Jump in, no deep dive, just spur of the moment.
And it can have an education element attached in that simple sense. I don't remember my periodic table. I can remember how many elements are on it. I remember what element is. I was terrible at chemistry. I moved schools in the critical year of actually grasping, the origin or the beginnings of chemistry. So I never managed to catch up. And
Great.
yeah, it just turned me
It's a
off.
brilliant idea, and I think they've said on the website they're gonna do art, something like that for art as well. But this is like the first step,
That's
and you
right.
can get element tokens on MinSwap. Well,
Yeah, so this is the tokenomics for the element token, which is the
mm,
fungible token. They're going to have a 100 million supply. They've committed 1.5% to giveaways and raffles. So that'll be some of those benefits. If you're an NFT holder, you can probably participate in some of these additional perks like giveaways, raffles, airdrops. Um, there's also an opportunity to yield farm. And often if you hold an NFT in a project that's got a fungible token as well, then holding an NFT will give you some additional boost on your yield farming or on your staking rewards. So that might be something you can participate in later. I mean, this is all speculation based on what people have done before, but that's certainly one thing. They've got a liquidity pool on MinSwap by the looks of things, so that means that a certain amount of ADA paired with Element on MinSwap already, so you can go in and trade your fungible token based on whether you think the market will rise or fall. If you hold the Element token, then you can become a liquidity provider by adding your own ADA and Element into that pool. And then anytime somebody comes in to buy or sell either of those two tokens in that pool, in that pairing, you will earn a portion of the trading fees. And so this is creating a whole economy, a whole store of value around a brand new project that we're coming to see sort of regular patterns happening in and around the crypto space. And it's a bit good fun, but also can be educational and so forth. So yeah, thanks for that. I'll certainly keep an eye on it. Hi, Dan. Anybody got any questions they want to dive into before I hit my news topics that I've got bubbling up and just to share with you?
yeah, nothing on my side apart from that.
Okay. So another project that I think you took an interest in was Cornucopia's file nodes.
Yes, yes.
So I was just catching up on the latest news for that, and there's an interesting video from a few weeks back. Why can I not copy these links? Which is a session of their Kopi Cafe, which is where the team share latest news and updates. These are the two founders. And on this session, they introduce one of their core developers, who is the guy working on file nodes, their file node system. And he's a highly credentialed enterprise engineer who's come in to help architect the protocol around the file nodes. The file nodes within cornucopias are going to be the file storage method for the game itself. So you imagine any game that you get now in the sort of private sector enterprise space, they're coming out of Silicon Valley or something like that. You will have a significant amount of or a significant volume of game assets that need to be downloaded when you first play the game. So you've got this whole 3D world environment, you've got all the images associated with that 3D world. You've got stats and history of all the game players and where they are, what status they have within the game. All that needs to come down to your local machine so that you can actually engage in the world and play it. And in the centralized traditional world, all those would be stored in a server farm provided by the game itself. And when people initially download it, then that's becoming a cost for the game because they have to provide all that storage, all that bandwidth for the transferring of those files. And games can be 200 gig just to get going, and that's all coming down from new players. So when you've got a large influx of new players, then you've got significant hosting bills for that period. So cornucopias are looking to build a way of creating a decentralized, distributed method of distributing their game assets, and that is going to be called their file node network. The way they're going to be paying for that bandwidth is by using the community who have their opportunity to buy file nodes. If you go and buy a file node, that then gives you a license to operate software that will manage the distribution of the game assets for other people. So when a new player comes to the game, they will log on to the download site for cornucopias. And instead of it coming from a cornucopias server, which has a risk of centralized. So if anybody wants to come in and attack that and try and inject a virus into their game files or something, so they can create a zombie network of all the players of the game, then it's a high profile target. So instead of having their own public servers, they're going to be distributing the games on third party servers. So trusted operators in the network who've bought into the infrastructure of the game can then host the files that will be downloaded to people's machines. And this is following the model that the decentralized DeFi space is taking for a lot of things. The more distributed, the more spread, the more shared the economy, the incentives, the assets, the more robust the game is, the robust the project is to attack or compromise or manipulation. So if you hold a file node NFT, then you'll be given the opportunity to run a file node server itself, which will then help in distributing the assets for when people need them. And as a result, you'll be compensated from the game itself. So the in-game economy will then pay out to you as a file node operator a little set of revenues, salaries, however you want to think of it.
So I actually bought one of those NFTs. Well, one of those offerings. So I'm assuming I'm just waiting for them to set the rules out for how to set it all up.
Yeah, exactly.
Not done anything since then.
No, so in the cornucopias dashboard, or the marketplace, I think they call it, you can come in and connect the wallet that you bought the NFT from. So that has the transaction history of you purchasing the NFT. They haven't minted the NFTs yet, so it hasn't been sent to your wallet. So you're not a holder of the NFT yet, but you do have the right to receive one when they do mint these NFTs. So they're going to sell them all first, it seems, and then do a distribution. Actually, let me just have a quick look, see which wallet I transacted, because I bought file nodes as well. I can quickly find which wallet that was in. I can actually connect you, and you can have a look to see what shape yours is in as well. Actually, it was in this one. So if you come in, click the connect your Cardano wallet button. If you've got the adapt connector switched on in Eternal for the wallet that bought the NFT, you can then connect, grant access, and you'll be successfully connected. And then, if I remember, I think off this profile button, nope, off the orders button, you can see file nodes that are available. And yes, you can then come in and see a representation of the NFT as it will appear when it is minted. And when those get distributed, that will then give you the rights to either run a file node yourself, or to actually what they've announced in this video that I was showing you is that they've created a file server network already, so you can actually come and get one of their servers as a service. File node as a service. So that means you don't have to run the infrastructure yourself. If you haven't got a good internet connection, you haven't got hardware available to use, then instead of having to run that in your office or home or in a data center of your own, you can actually just rent a server, which will decrease your rewards a little bit, but you'll offset effectively your electricity bills or broadband bills if you were running it yourself, and then earn rewards from operating as a file node. anyway. So that will be a really low barrier to entry to running file node, and still give you the earning rights that those file nodes have. So it's a well thought through process, I think, because they're still creating a sharing economy, still inviting people in to operate nodes and take part in the network themselves, but they are providing a number of servers themselves so that people who don't have the technical abilities can still participate in purchasing a file node and get the benefits of earning from that long term. So they're looking like a really solid project still. There's nothing that's given me any concerns about cornucopias at all. The two founders are there, putting in the marketing efforts, putting in the public relations, week in, week out. The game releases look more and more spectacular all the time. The thoughts that's gone into the infrastructure is really solid. And if I just play some of the footage of the in-game, so this is the sort of racing portion of the game where you can actually walk around 3D world and jump into a race car, race ship, and do some racing. They've got like this big arena, like shopping arena almost. You can go in and browse around. There'll be a whole load of brands being represented in this sort of metaverse. And then you've also got a huge world to explore. There's domes of different zones with different habitats, vegetation and desert and urban landscapes and cityscapes. And then also outside the game, you've got a whole load of opportunities for earning and participating as an investor or as an enthusiast. But they're hoping that most people will just be jumping into the universe itself and then exploring. So this is showing Solace, which is one of the zones within the game, one of the floating islands that you can fly your ship to, land, jump out of your ship, and then run around exploring this world. And within this world, they're going to have mining for valuable assets, or just exploring, just creating land, buying land plots, building up your own 3D world asset, and you can invite people back to your place and hang out in your plot. And so this is just showing the richness of the metaverse they're building. It's really quite staggering. Obviously, it's got bits where he sped up the video just to record. And this is an unpopulated brand new section of the world, so there's nothing in here other than wilderness. But the idea of being able to buy a plot in this place, in this huge landscape, go and make your own shed, fill it for the things you want, and then invite people back to swim in your pool or build a go-kart with you. It's a lot of fun.
That was one of the question I had was, are you providing one of those services where you run the server?
I will be, yeah. So I've bought some file nodes myself, and I'll be running a distribution server for their game assets, let people download from my machines, and for which I'll get paid.
Yeah, and I'll see if it's difficult rather, then I might consider just say, Jonathan, go ahead. Here's my NFT. Run it for me.
Okay, yeah, maybe do
Yeah,
a collaboration on it. I
yeah.
could, yeah. I think you needed there was a certain tiering within it. You needed more than 8 or something to run a particular.
Um,
So I can't remember exactly what the details are. It's in this video somewhere though. But yeah, that's certainly interesting. I'm
yeah,
just
I just bought one node just to look, see, and how it works.
okay, yeah.
I think I got in fairly early as well, so I paid around 400 ADAs. It wasn't quite high.
Yeah. They increased in price as it
Yeah,
went.
they had different stages, didn't they? So I think I was in third or fourth stage.
Okay, yeah. And just looking at that video, I don't think it's actually the one that I was thinking about. That one's demos Solace, but the one with the file node protocol developer is another
Right.
one. So I'll dig out that one and drop that into the
Okay.
Discord's right, all my links into Discord as normal, and you can pick up and have a look at it.
Yeah.
But
It'll
yeah,
be one of the it'll be one of their coffee cafes videos, won't it?
yeah, one of their recent Kobe cafes.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
this one. It's Node Mastermind. So yeah,
At
this is
90, number 90.
number 90. Yeah, where is it? This guy. So this guy at the top, he is come out of the out of Cisco, which is obviously you'll know if you've been around IT at all.
Mm.
Serious hardware manufacturer. So he's worked on global protocols for Cisco, and he's now come to do the same for Cornucopia's game, adding a whole lot of expertise. And that's the sort of caliber of engineers that are moving into the DeFi crypto space. We've got real, people who are very shrewd, very bright, have got very well high paid jobs in enterprise space, are very willing to give that up, jump into the more fun side of crypto, DeFi, metaverse, all these buzzwords that are attracting in the volumes of people now. There's a significant volume of people coming to the space, which is exciting because it's hitting the mainstream finally. We've got Bitcoin ETFs trading on the import people's pension portfolios now, so we're starting to become a serious contender for the next huge wave of technology. Of course, AI is going to come along and make us look minuscule, but that's fine. They need blockchain to survive. And on that, while we're on the sort of gaming note, let's have a quick look at the latest from Machiavellic, as that is oh dear. So we are a partner pool with Machiavellic. That was, I think I copied, but I seem to have got a bad link. So let's just have a quick browse to it. Their Machiavellic team are building at pace. They're showing new snippets of what they're up to. In fact, there's one. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this is the one I think I wanted to share. So I was in a call with their community lead, Fletcher. We were talking about tokenomics for the Machiavellic game itself. They have minted their MAC token, which is the token that they are reserving for a hardcore zone within the game itself. And only hardcore gamers will have the opportunity to earn MAC. So you've got to be able to take the assets that you've accrued in playing the sort of normal level of the game, then commit them to being lost, potentially lost, depending on the quality of your gameplay, by entering the hardcore zone. And so in that area, there'll be a large risk reward factor that players of the game can choose to enter and risk their assets, or potentially earn a whole load of bigger rewards. And so the only way you can earn the MAC token is going to be in that hardcore zone. And so all early adopters, OGs in the space who did buy into their token launch, their NFT drops, will have the opportunity to will have had an opportunity to buy in early and get hold of MAC tokens, a sizable amount of MAC tokens that will be the most valuable asset within the game. If you're a newbie to the game, you're just coming to actually play it, then the token that you'll be able to buy in the normal zones within the game will be tiers. So you can go in and earn your tiers, probably by sacrificing your blood and sweat. You'll earn your tiers, but that will be the currency that they'll have liquidity pools for outside of the game. They'll be able to swap them out for additional benefits and tweaks. And the first sort of stage of actual gameplay they're going to release is within this cryogenic chamber, which I did show you a few calls back. So if you got some of their officer commission passes, their NFTs, you can actually enter those into the cryogenic chamber now, as the journey to Ozark has started. And if you've got your officers in that space, then you'll be earning some staking rewards in terms of tiers already. And what they're going to be doing is releasing some in-game assets, some in-game gameplay within the cryogenic chamber. So while we're on this long journey across the stars to Ozark, we can actually have some mini games within the cryogenic chamber itself. And this post details some of the things they're thinking of, and also offers some visuals on how the game will look. So another exciting update. I've had a couple of calls now with the team, so hopefully I'll get to feed into some of my thoughts around how the tokenomics of tiers can work, and then we'll see if that results in access to good price action. So if you're from an investor perspective, we'll have an opportunity to input into that space. So if you have any thoughts on tokenomics, on what you'd like to see being able to be bought and sold and engaged with in terms of MAC and tiers, then I can feed that back to the tokenomics team as they work up how they're going to do their token distribution, etc.
Jonathan, sorry, I do have one policy, as you were about a purchase a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my Eternal wallet. I haven't really used it, so there going to be some step-by-step process? How can I, do something about it? I mean, I know you explained this. Is still there going on about what should I do, or is there any step I can take straight away?
The best way probably is to go through the video on the last call I did on the Machiavellic one. So if you have a browse through the Discord, in fact, let me try getting this up here. We'll do it as a demo actually, because finding out old topics is a bit of a nightmare since I stopped timestamping the videos. But so in Discord, zoom in. You can come to our Hangout, and then actually within here we've got threads now. I think I'm not sure if I dropped it into a thread in itself, but so in this button at the top here, you can click on threads, and that will show you each meeting dated has got its own conversation thread. And so if we have talked about particular things, I drop the notes or add a links. I drop the links into the call for that week. So what we can probably do is search for Machiavellic as a topic on the Fluid server. And then we have the game asset dashboard. And so this was on Cardano Q&A from 29th of March. Did I manage to get the video link up on here as well? Doesn't look like I did. So, well, at least we know the date is from the March 29th. So then we can jump over to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Fluid7. I think takes you straight there. No, is it at Fluid7? At Fluid7. And then we can go to the Cardano Q&A playlist. And oops, just play them all. I don't want to do that. I want to do listing. Cardano. Oh, view pull playlist. That's what I need. So yeah, that's one user interface thing I really don't like about YouTube. So you come to here to the playlist section,
So youtube.com fluid7, right? /fluid7.
Slash at Fluid7, ampersand Fluid7.
I can't. Okay, it's really not. I can't see it at hardly. So.
Yeah, that's tiny. Sorry.
Uh,
So then that will show you. Click on playlists, and under Cardano Q&A, you can view full playlist,
okay.
and then they've got them all listed by date. And so we want to go back to the. Oh, it's one of the videos I have not uploaded. It looks like. Okay, I'll dig out that video and upload it. I don't know why I missed it that week. Maybe I shared something I shouldn't have on the video itself. This one did have some Mac on it as well, so maybe this will go through it too. It might be in this one actually. No, actually, in this one I just touched on the game, but didn't actually go into the dashboard. So yeah, I'll need to dig out that video and upload it for you. But in short, I think you can probably follow some instructions from this boarding procedures initiated. And it has a video as well. So this one will probably give you a decent amount of info on how to actually connect your wallet to the dashboard and get it going. Now, in fact, they've released binaries for installing on Mac and on Windows machines. So if you have either Mac or Windows, you can actually install the game now. I don't, so I'm still using the web version of the dashboard. And each time you load up the game in a web browser, it loads the whole assets down. So just as we were talking about for cornucopias, there's a whole load of digital assets you need to download to play a game. With a Machiavellic, if you're playing it through the web, then each time you go, you exit the game and come back again, you need to load in all those assets each time. And so it's a bit of a slow process. But they have now got these binaries that you can download to install on your local machine if you're a Mac user or a Windows user. I'm Linux, so I don't actually have a Windows machine I can play it on unless I reboot my computer into my other partition. So I don't do that very often. But yeah, that will mean if you can get that dashboard, the instructions are probably on that post that I'll drop into the links afterwards. But I don't know if they've got those available for download from the actual website yet, or whether you just have to follow the Medium post to get hold of them. But yeah, that was only announced in the last couple of weeks. So whether you've got, whether you maybe even need to go to the Discord to get the download links, I'm not sure. But I'll have a quick look for those afterwards as well, and get to you what I can.
Yeah, great.
But the game itself, yeah, I can't remember. I'd have to dig it out of the video. But yeah, they have a play. Good fun. So yeah, effectively, you go into the dashboard, you can connect your wallet, you'll load your NFTs, you'll see your NFTs in the dashboard of the game itself, and then you can assign each of those officers to a pod in the cryogenic chamber, and then you'll start to earn tiers as you go over that journey to Ozark.
So any pod, like, is there any sort of like, can I just assign to any pod, or it need to be specific?
So if you can buy a sort of land plot as well as an NFT, but that's a separate purchase you need to make, and then you can actually group your officers together. If you're a big holder of multiple, if you just got the one or two, then you can just grab any empty pod, drop them in there, and that will start you earning. So yeah,
Okay.
I'll dig out the video from March 29th. Right, make a note for myself to do that, otherwise I will forget. And upload it to YouTube so you can follow that session. Cool. Have fun.
Thank you.
Another update on a project we are partnered with. I mentioned a little while ago that A-Starter are rebranding to Lumino. So that process is now complete. And the rebrand is deeper than I was thinking even. So their token, which we took part in the pre-sale for, the pre-launch of the token was offered up for sale, and that was the AA token. That token has been changed from AA to LMN, as in Lumino, LMN. So the handle for the token is going to be LMN. So we'll have bought LMN rather than AA token. And
Did they say why they've changed the project? They changed some strategies, or is it something else that's coming the way?
I think they've just done some market research on their branding and name, and A-Starter wasn't cutting it for the marketing peeps. So I switched to Lumino.
Titanium would have been good, wouldn't it?
Say again.
Titanium would have been good.
What would it be?
Titanium.
Oh, titanium. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Would have taken one of the elements off the table. That would be fun.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah, this was the old logo, the white, and that's what their web, that astarter.io still looks like that. But I was on their new website, which I guess is lumino.io. But I thought they'd actually linked the two together, but it didn't seem that they have. Unless maybe if I click on one of those, it'll jump me over. That's the old domain still, which hasn't got an SSL certificate. They do need to tighten up on some of these bits of branding still. Have a good look. Yeah, the old one still, I think. Let's have a look. Typing in directly. I typed this morning. Lumino.io, I think it was. No. They link off here either. No, still no. It must have it on there. Lumino.defi.io. This is the rebranded version of their apps, and it does look good. So I can't dispute them on whether it was worth rebranding or not. So a whole new color palette, new range of graphics, and everything looks just a bit more trendy. So yeah, good work, team. They've got their roadmap updated, links up to their blog posts, and in particular, there is a section on the Lumino tokenomics, which is worth a look because it's now talking about the LMN token rather than AA. Tokenomics themselves haven't changed, but again, with all the scrutiny that's happening around projects tokenomics at the moment, which we touched on last week, it's good to have a refresher on how A-Starter team are looking, the Lumino team are looking with their tokenomics, and all is good. What's exciting is that they are now ramping up the transition from their ISPO pools being run by themselves to the merge staking ISPO kicking off. So what they've asked delegators to do is to come to this Google form, to pre-register for the extended merge staking ISPO. So all you guys, if you want to earn additional Lumino to the stuff you may have bought into in the pre-launch, you can, and this is just a non-effort earning ability like staking. Come in, drop your email. Say you're already participating in a pool. Probably have to fill it in again to partake. And then on this list, you'll find Fluid Pool. Drop in your wallet address from the wallet you'd like your Lumino to be paid out to when they do the token generation event, and make sure it's the wallet that is staked to Fluid Pool. I'm asking you for an address. Let me drop one in there.
We should do that, is that right, Jonathan?
Yeah, each of you needs to do this. Yeah. Let me grab the dictator receive address. So you need to grab your receive address from your wallet. Drop it into the second page of the form. And then leave the pool name, which is, oh, this is suggesting another pool that you would be happy to see in the program as well. I can't think of anybody that wants to get in, hasn't got in already, that I know personally. So I don't have a suggestion for that. But if you knew of somebody, another pool operator that wants to get in on it, you could drop them details in there as well. And then if you follow the team on Twitter and on Telegram, there's links off to their social media feeds here. Drop them in there, and that will qualify you for an additional bonus of your merge staking rewards. So that's worth doing too. And then you can subscribe to their news feeds, and they'll be drip feeding people bits of information about Fluid Pool and the other partner pools, as well as their own project. And submit that form. Don't forget to that final stage, and then that will be you registered for Lumino rewards through the merge staking protocol that they're doing, or project that they're taking on. Everybody good with that?
Yeah. You're gonna drop the link, right?
I'll put all the links, into the Discord as normal.
And is there a deadline for that, or you can do this like any?
Anytime their merge staking was supposed to kick off in Q2, so we're well into that now.
Right.
Heading into our 5th month of the year, so we expect that to I don't know when it's going to actually switch on. They haven't demoed any of the tech that they're building around it yet, so we're still got a few unknowns about it, but yeah, the rebrand looks like it's pretty much complete, and illuminadefi.io is the website to keep an eye on from now. Good updates on a starter. One place to look at, keep an eye on as well, is going to be this calculator, which has not been updated for merge staking yet, but when it is updated, then we'll be able to get an idea of what sorts of token distribution we will receive. So at the moment, it's still just talking about their stage 1 of their ISPO, which is if you were staked to the AA pools. Now, if you're staked to Fluid Pool, etc., you'll be earning words as well. And so this calculator, I've been told, is going to update to allow you to predict or to see how many LMN tokens you've actually earned from being a delegated to Fluid Pool. So that's for the sake of staking with Fluid Pool, you just earn some new additional tokens, which is great because we need our last ISPO ended, the CNCT one, We've been waiting for another one to start. So this looks like it may be the next one up, which is great. So that's calculator.luminodefi.io. They did have a link lower down in my notes. Should have gone there first. Cool. Any questions about A starter Lumino? Or is that all good? Other bit of news I thought is worth you looking at. Artificial intelligence is coming on leaps and bounds. GPT-4o was just released, which is like a mobile-ready, multimodal artificial intelligence large language model. You can talk to it, you can show it pictures, it can watch videos and interpret those. You can interact with it verbally. It looks extremely impressive. If you haven't seen any videos on GPT-4o yet, do go and have a look. They are kind of mind-blowing.
Is it a subscription based?
No, they're making it all free, this one.
Oh, right.
So I guess it's replacing GPT 3.5, I think, which was their free access one. They then had GPT-4 and GPT-4v, which were all subscription or private access. But this latest one, GPT-4o, is apparently going to be open access for all. So that's quite exciting. I'm obviously feeling the pressure of competition from elsewhere.
So what's the link to download or get to web on the browser?
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't got an invite into it yet. So I imagine it'll just be off their OpenAI listing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But at the moment, when I checked it yesterday, the day before, it was just showing me the GPT 3.5 still. So GPT-4o, learn more. Yeah, I think they've just got the marketing materials around it still.
Okay.
Yeah, do go and watch these videos. So this, for example, is a conversation between a Korean, I think he's Korean speaker and English speaker, and he asks GPT to translate any English he hears into Korean, any Korean he hears into English. So effectively, you've got an artificial intelligent interpreter sitting in your conversation, and it's real time. It's really accurate, really slick.
Wow.
Looks like it's going to be a massive boost for communication.
Yeah.
And
Imagine United Nations just using that kind.
yeah, I mean,
You and your family.
the interpreter industry must be quaking. But also, there's a whole series of video. You've got Khan Academy. He's sitting in a call with GPT-4 and his son. GPT-4 is watching what they're doing on screen, and he instructs GPT-4 to teach his son how to work out algebra around right angle triangles, so SOHCAHTOA, and it doesn't spoon feed him. It actually teaches him as a teacher would. So asks him questions that would expand a new learner in a space rather than just spoon feeding him the answers, which is really impressive. Well worth watching. Again, another industry quaking in its boots. The education industry really got a lot to try and add value to GPT models now. And there's other ones. We're going to have virtual girlfriends that respond in the way, tell you politely how you can improve your appearance for going to job interviews, that sort of thing. It's gonna be someone you can't get angry at, or even if you do, she won't get angry back. It's the dangerous territory we're creating.
Yeah, I can see use cases for something like if you want to learn programming language, for example, they can teach you a programming language like you would on a, let's say, boot camp, for example. That would be fantastic, isn't it? There are loads of use cases that'll be.
Yeah, even more than that, some of the demos I've got of it just saying, so not just programming, but any aspect of using computer. Create me a 3D model of a table that I want to put in a doll's house, and it will give you a downloadable stereolithography file or 3D CAD file to actually go and print out a 3D version of that table for you. And you can ask it to manipulate the 3D model while it's on screen still, so make the legs longer, make the legs more curvy, that sort of thing, and it will actually manipulate this 3D model. So
Wow.
you're not actually even interacting with a language there. You're actually just describing a 3D object you want to see produced in reality. Then if you have a 3D printer, it's just a case of downloading that asset, printing it out, and there you've got in front of you a model of your thought processes, which is the
Fantastic. Yeah.
future is shocking, and the pace that this is developing and growing at is exponential, truly exponential. So we're seeing 100 years of human development. What would have been 100 years of human development 20, 40 years ago is now happening in the space of a couple of years. So yeah, where we'll be in 10 years' time, I can no longer predict. I mean, it's just pure science fiction, beyond the realms of science fiction.
Yeah, I suppose you can imagine the kids now going to be born from now on. They'll be like, that will be their new world.
Yeah, they'll just have digital equivalents that will be.
Yeah.
Now, when we watched Superman visit his Palace of Solitude, his ice palace in the North Pole, where he threw his
Yeah.
crystal from Krypton, and then he plugs in the crystal, and Jor-El, his father, appears in hologram mode, and then
Yeah.
he's talking to him like it's a normal conversation. That blew my mind as a kid, and now we've got it in our hands, in our mobile phones. We create digital avatars of dead people who will speak.
Amazing.
Who've learned all the teachings and mannerisms of dead people and can be brought back to life, and absolutely staggering what's coming. So so this is ChatGPT. I didn't want to talk about them. I wanted to expose some more. OpenAI started with an OpenAI initiative, open sourced all their code. Elon Musk put in a whole load of his money to found it, and since then they've taken on more funding from Microsoft. They've closed source their technology, locked up their IP, and now are monetizing it, which is fine. That's exactly one thing to do. But as you say at the beginning, you should continue through to the end, is my opinion. So if you want to pivot and do something else, then change your branding, start up a new company, and do something like that. Leave the assets that you open sourced initially as open source, and part of that should be the brand assets. So I wanted to share with you an alternative tool that's sort of the equivalent of GPT. I don't know which one, 4 or something like that. 3.5 and 4 certainly, called Venice.ai that was shared with me. And this is interesting and resonates with me from a sort of ethical standpoint, in that it's operating in a sort of incognito mode. So there is no registration, no sign in for this AI engine. You can just come and use it without providing it with any information. So if you're on a VPN to mask your IP address, so it doesn't even know your physical location, you can do that as well. But then anything you put into it obviously is stored and processed and fed back into the engine, so it does become part of its learning cycle. But if you're not exposing anything that identifies you personally, then this is a good AI engine to use. And so Venice AI. And so if you can ask it anything. I run a small clothing retail enterprise that wants to improve sales. Create me a marketing strategy, please. I always like to be polite, even to the AI. And it will then give you steps to go and approach looking into marketing your small clothing retail business. And so this as a tool now is how it's almost the first place we should be going when we have any questions, anything we want to improve about the way we're buying stuff, the way we're selling stuff, whether we're in business or not, and the way we want to learn a topic we want to learn about. Then AI is really a shortcut to getting to in-depth technology, in-depth learning on any topic. So, if you then wanted to drill down on how do I implement a loyalty program, that's your next question. And it will give you step by steps, and you can keep going, get it, drill down. And what it's doing is pulling in all the language that's on the training model it's had, which typically these days is now the internet. It's finding all the conversations that were around loyalty programs that it thinks is pertinent, that it thinks makes sense in terms of constructing sentences and conversations, and returning that back to you. So effectively, it's doing the work of you going out and browsing 10 different marketing blogs, aggregating those together, extracting out the key learnings from it, and putting it into short, snappy sentences. With, as though it was a marketing expert giving you advice. And, if you find an answer you don't quite like or want more detail on, then you just can drill down and go further and further. And so, yeah, here's 10 steps to implementing a loyalty program. And so you could ask it, how should I distribute my loyalty points? And it might, end up suggesting blockchain as a good way of doing that. And then it could lead you to coming to ask me to help you implement blockchain loyalty points, which again is something we can do. So, yeah, this is a great service. It's really useful to see, same sort of feature sets as available within the closed source, large scale Silicon Valley based AI development teams, as on some of these now purely open anonymous engines as well.
So, Jonathan, so is it like, which one better? Is it like both of them, like, are they getting information from same source? Then can you sort of like say which one will be better in terms of, usability, or is the same? Does it matter, like for like, sorry, go on.
They're all different. So it depends on the engine that's been used to browse the data set, and the size of the data set itself. And so what you get out of OpenAI, GPT-4 will be different from what you get out of GPT 3.5, will be different from what you get out of these engines here. So it's got Llama 3 based engines, Noose H2P, Doge 70B, Dolphin 2.9. So even within these, you can go and figure out which engine you want to use, what benefits one has over the other. Like this one, Llama 3 Doge is uncensored, so you may be getting some results from it that are more extreme in terms of opinion, because it is based on content that's from I don't know what extreme news outlets are there, GB News and the Socialist Press or something. So if you're creating blog articles, you might not want to take lead from one of these extreme ones. If you're creating public relations articles, you might not want to take it from one of these more extreme engines. But if you're looking for something that is finding opinion pieces from the edges of human thinking, then yeah, you might want to use one of these engines that are more open and uncensored. If you're looking for something that's really going to create safe stuff for classroom education, or to put onto your sales pieces for your clothing store, then one of the more highly vetted engines is probably better for you. But that's
OpenAI, right? One.
OpenAI 3.5 certainly is a good safe starting point, because it's been heavily censored. So it's had a whole load of engineers and language experts sitting down and saying, let's train out all the trigger words like sex and drug abuse and swearing and gender identity politics, all these sorts of things will be toned down or will have an influence towards what that team think should be shared, should be the angle it takes. And so there's always contention around, is the team that put this together right-wing leaning, certainly in the States, right-wing leaning, as in their opinions are more conservative, or left-leaning, or their opinions are more socialist. And so that will, or liberal, or and the politics of whichever jurisdiction your engine is being crafted in probably reflects in the AI engine as it feeds you back information. So being able to choose multiple ones of these engines to try them out if you are using this as a tool every day today is important. And if you want to look at alternative engines, then certainly looking at Venice, it's got 3 here, which are about a different approach to OpenAI. Imad, who has oh dear, I forget the name of the engine. Stability AI. That's another one to have a look at. You've got Perplexity, which is leveraging some of the larger Silicon Valley based ones as well. All these are offering different models, different training models to go and explore and try things out with. And it's important that we do keep trying alternatives to just the large high profile ones that are hitting the mainstream, like GPT-4o, which looks phenomenal. But yeah, we need this industry to be wide and dispersed with multiple actors in it. Otherwise, we're going to end up with an AI that is just perpetuating the leanings of the organization that put it together. And with the case of OpenAI, that's probably Microsoft. It's going to be, it's got a whole lot of shareholders and investors who've plowed money into OpenAI that will be looking for a return on their investment. So, there are agendas at play in all of these engines. It's just whether which one you use is down to. It's got to suit you.
Yeah. Yeah. What about like this Bard and all those the Google ones? Are they like they're more sort of Google focused, right? I mean, the information you provide is what Google has. Is how they.
Yeah, Gemini from Google will be reflective of the Gemini team, the developers around it. And again, they're North American based, out of Silicon Valley, similar sort of opinions and leanings as OpenAI, frankly, probably. They're coming out of that. They've already hit big money because they're able to afford to put the research into an AI engine. So you've got Microsoft have co-opted OpenAI. Gemini has come out of the Google team, which has got the whole of Google's data set to train from. You'll have forgotten what Elon Musk's bot is called, but that's been fed by all the real world data coming out of the Tesla cameras on all the Tesla cars. That AI offering is going to be phenomenal in its capabilities, but again, you've kind of got a North American perspective on it. What we really need to see are engines coming out of Asia, Africa, Europe that are contending to the same extent as the North American ones. Latin America, China, Russia, all engines need to appear from all these places to really create a fair and open world. If we have anything that's pushing an agenda from one particular nation too far, then nations are the entities that have a monopoly on power and on violence. And so ultimately, if a part of the world is not doing what America wants, America ends up creating violent policies against it, and will defend its stance using violence. And so we need to grow out of this whole place that we're in now. And artificial intelligence is such a powerful force. I see it impacting, those dynamics heavily. So it's important that we support the small builders, small developers, with alternative opinions to the large centers that are pulled around the most successful nations in the world. That's my opinion, and yeah. So do
So
have a look at.
what chance of like, end of the my understanding, OpenAI is a large based on large model language, and they are just extracting information from the what is out there in a web, right? Web server. So what extent of uh, this developer has to sort of manipulate the data in it? I mean, I mean, how they will be able to do so, because end of the day, they are getting information from what's already out there. So is that how they feed something in there with their own agenda? That's when we get manipulated. They don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's, so every engine is only always only putting out what has been allowed to go in. And if something tries to come out that doesn't fit the agenda of that team, then it will be censored. So a significant, public mistake was by the Gemini model. It released its image or text to image engine. And so people could ask it for an image of the Pope to create some artwork from, and invariably it'll create black popes, female popes, Indian popes, but it'll never show a white aging man, which has been every pope so far. And so the idea that that's just from general information on the internet is ludicrous. This has been specifically targeted to try and fit an agenda that is based on equity and fairness and liberal thought processes, which doesn't reflect real world. I know that if I'm talking about a pope to you in the conversation, in both our minds there is a white aging man, and that's the way it be. If I'm talking about a black bishop, then yeah, okay, our thoughts were different. But an artificial intelligence engine to just put out on hearing the word pope, a black female pope, an image of a black female pope is, it's a sign of the manipulation that's been done on that data set. Because that's not just, that's not where the human brain goes automatically. We learn from our real world experiences. And so far, popes have been white men. So why would it show anything other than that? Only because of the data it's been allowed to put out, or the input it's been given. And yeah, so the influence on these engines is significant, is important, and we need to be aware and wary of it, because it will be feeding us agendas. And artificial intelligence, like I just was showing you how to create marketing proposals, they can be fitness plans, they can be anything. These engines are, as we're using it more and more to leverage the abilities of the human brain, we are going to be influenced into. It's a two-way street. You ask it to do something, it gives you what you want, but it's also doing it with an agenda. And slowly over time, what we ask it to do will be influenced more and more by the agenda it's been feeding to us. And so if it's all coming from a single source, then we are actually massively manipulating the whole of the user base for these AI engines. And so it is very important to have disparate views going in, different engines coming out, alternative sources for the data. And there are several people who speak well on this. Let me find Imad, if you want to hear more from some deep thinkers in the space. Interviews by this guy are great. Spelled his name wrong. Imad Jake is in the UK. He's the CEO of Stability AI. Oh, he's resigned a month ago. But a great speaker in the space, knows what he's trying to do to sort of combat the influence that big money has. And yeah, go and find this guy, watch some videos on him, interviews with him. He's a good speaker to listen to. I don't agree with everything he says, but he's a strong alternative opinion, which is important. More and more, in my mind, we saw the mass, single agenda policy that came about through COVID in terms of vaccines are safe, vaccines are the disease won't spread if everyone takes a vaccine. Alternative voices on alternative methods of combating that spread of that virus were poo-pooed, maligned, and there was a mass marketing campaign against them. So big pharma was definitely having an influence in that time period. And you've seen the video clips of all the mass media newscasters saying the same line, aggregated together, and that was all media that was fed into North America in particular. They're all getting the same news agenda, and that's because big money is influencing the news of what they wanted to hear, and that is influenced by big money, whether that's pharma or government or sugar industry. Wherever big money has accrued, they have an agenda to perpetuate their place in that market, and so they will influence any means they can of changing the way that people think towards their agenda. And that's what we're combating. And AI is so powerful a tool, we really need to take control of it. And so projects like artificial intelligence, Singularity Net, NTX, Stability AI, all these are alternative tools that are working to open source these engines, put the power of the engines into the individual's hands to create AI models for themselves. So yeah, that's a real risk factor, and the one that we need to be combating. Cool.
Jonathan, just another quick question on AI. Like this tool we've got. The prompt, they tend to say prompt is very important. Like to get the accurate information. And is this the case? Like, because I really sort of like, sometimes I don't really get the information that I want. I mean, I get certain extent, but really accurate information. Is that is somehow you need to get the prompt right, or is it like there's, because that's something I tend to struggle how to get the right like question to them so I get an accurate result.
There's lots of different techniques you can use. So the best thing to do probably is to Google prompt engineering, and just do a bit of research around that. There are some good bloggers, writers in this space who put articles together on how to get the best out of prompting an AI engine. I think in the longer term this will go away as an issue, really, but yeah, prompting it at the moment is still quite an art form to get the most out of it. One good technique you can do is to describe the person that you want the AI engine to be thinking like. So you can tell it, I want you to be a marketing officer for a, like the example we used earlier, for a small online clothing retailer. Answer my questions as though you are that in that role, and then put your questions to it. And that will switch the engine into trying to only gather information and source of text from those types of people who give those types of answers, and that's a good way of getting the best kind of results from your prompting. But yeah, there's all sorts of tips and tricks out there like that, and so often it can be a case of searching Google for give me the best prompts for online marketing, something like that, and it will then have a human who's written lots of good prompts for it. But yeah, there is some legwork involved still, but it's getting better all the time. And yeah, the latest generation of models aren't all available, but they do have significantly better results than the models from a year ago. So yeah, it's worth shopping around and keep trying different things. But yeah, good question. Good question. Right, I'm fed up of talking about AI. Let's move on to something more crypto. So project I mentioned a little while ago is YAM4, which has got a very strange name. Don't know what it stands for, but I've read it at some point. YAM4 is a loan project being built up on Cardano. and they are sort of reaching critical mass now. They've just launched their testnet. They've got they had their team switch up a little bit about 2 months ago, and they've now got an extended team who's helping get this thing built. They'll be announcing which third-party audit company will be doing their audits. They said that was imminent, that announcement. And typically, once the audit is done, then it's a very short time period to the project launching. The unique thing about YAM4 loans model is that they are, I mean, it sounds unbelievable. Just these first points on how their loans will appear. So no ongoing interest repayments. So you don't pay interest, no premiums. There is no liquidation risk. So you can't have your collateral liquidated from underneath you and you lose your collateral that you put up. So the loans will just run indefinitely and your collateral is not put at risk. They are indefinite loan terms, so you can run it for a week to a decade. You will be accruing interest all that time, and it does need paying off eventually for it to make sense. But there's no obligation on you to close it down at any point in time, and you're not paying interest as you're going along if you don't want to. And there's no chance of liquidation, automatic liquidation. So you're creating a really risk-free loan. It's sounding like, and they're sort of taking all the so they've got a couple of features that are gathering the value that will actually back these loans. There's a 19% fee for taking out a loan at all. So if you're borrowing $100,000, you're paying $19,000 straight into the protocol as a fee that you won't see back. And then that $100,000 loan will be accruing interest daily from then on, but you won't actually have to make interest payments if you don't choose to. The value of the $20,000 or the $19,000 you put in go into the token that is backing these loans, which is CBLP. And that token is effectively going to grow in value as all these loans come in, and it's going to be used to earn staking rewards from ADA, and also any assets that do reside within that protocol are owned by the community that holds the token. So it's not a centralized asset; it becomes a community-backed loan. So if you've sort of what do they call them? Money. Brain fade. It's almost like cooperative. Cooperatives in the UK, they're typically called. You have co-op banks, and you have money lenders, but it's not that's not the right words. So effectively, community backed loans, you can get them when you are on low income, bad credit. You can just go and take out very low interest loans, I mean small amounts, while you're getting yourself back on your feet. As long as you manage to make your repayments on those loans, then you can apply for better credit down the road. And it's sort of building up your credit history, putting you back on the map as a valuable member of society in terms of monetary sense. And so these loans are effectively filling that sort of role, in that they are community-owned liquidity. A large pool of liquidity and value is stored up, and everybody that's participating in this loan ecosystem is benefiting from and contributing to that pool of liquidity. And the launch of it on mainnet is exciting because the token has been around for a while. They did an early token launch event, and it's performed pretty well as a token. It's already attracted a lot of attention, and the teams that are in and around the team developing CBLP, it's getting great endorsements from brains that I really respect in the space. So I think it has a strong potential. Sitting in actually no, that's not the top list. That's not the homepage list. So on Tap Tools, it's sitting in the top 30, but in terms of market cap. So we've got a nearly $4 million worth of assets sitting behind the CBLP token, and yes, please, and the token itself has seen in the last 30 days has seen a 14% rise in value. So it's looking healthy at the moment. See the recent trading charts, and you can see it's volatile as all cryptos are, but the trend seems to be on the it was pretty sideways still. We've got a high there that we haven't managed to break out of yet since March. And the last real high was December, end of December, mid-December. But we have had price action higher up for a decent amount of time back here. So chances are we could get back up to here again in this bull run, which is 0.05, which is sort of 2.5 times from where we are at the moment. And this is all this activity, token activity. Token launch price was down at the 0.0001, and we're now at 0.02. So we've come up a long way. But all this activity is before they've actually had any utility, any actual product out there. And so now that the product is hitting testnet, that's a really good indicator that token project's about to launch, and that value will actually should be, or the accrued value in the token itself should be boosted by this actual release of utility. So an interesting one to look out for. I mention it as well because in particular it has a very good rate of return in terms of yield farming on MusicSwap. On MinSwap. So you can see here it's got a 79% APR on that ADA pairing CBLP. So if you are interested in participating in yield farming, I've talked about yield farming CBLP in the past, and it's still got a very good return. And with the project about to launch now, then actually holding CBLP in whatever volume you want to, whether you want to get into yield farming or not, it's just a good project to keep an eye on. And in fact, one thing that they did do was announce an airdrop recently for anybody that held their NOFB tokens, NFTs, which are from a little while back. Note of the right one. And any holders of that NFT will be eligible for the airdrop. At the moment, the calculations from the airdrop you'll get will be less. The returns will be less on that airdrop than at current prices than you would pay for buying the NFT on a secondary market. But with the rise in value of that token, then potentially that airdrop might be more valuable than the NFT you pay at the moment. So if you hold one of those NFTs, keep hold of them. If you haven't bought one yet, you could maybe take a punt on one. The NFT was reportedly having no utility beyond this point in time, but this is a new airdrop that's coming for it. So whether it yields a return or not, greater than its floor price now, we're not sure. But yeah, you can go and check out YAM for the NFTs. They are on the secondary marketplace on JPEG Store. And if the price drops on those, or one pops up for sale that's lower than you think, so 199 as a floor price, I think that's just too far out of reach in terms of what you could get as a good return on it from the airdrop. But yeah, maybe it's just looking at the token itself, the fungible token. But yeah, it does look a good thing. They have their tokenomics here if you want to have a read of the value proposition and what the token release will look like, how much is already out there, and how much is still coming. That's a good article to read on their fair token offering. And they also have their core documentation for the project itself. And this is a good source of information on what their utility is, what their tokenomics look like, and what's on the roadmap for the future. But yeah, a good project to look at. One that I know I only tend to talk about projects that I've taken a punt on myself. So it's not advice, but it is me talking from something I'm happy enough to invest in myself. And certainly as a project with good people around it, it seems to be certainly getting respect from a lot of good teams. Good. Well, that was all my prepared topics for today. So if you've got any additional questions, I've got another 10, 15 minutes to go, I think. If you want to use them, feel free.
Yeah, I may need to leave a bit early as well today myself because I've got a hospital appointment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the best for that. But yeah, if there's no more coming, then we can probably wrap up here.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks for joining, everyone. We're back on again next week. There hopefully will be some news from Lumino on the merge staking, and also from Machiavellic. I've got new announcements coming out all the time, so there may be something coming into new game releases coming out there as well. And of course, the testnet hopefully will actually have launched by then from Yum4. But if you want to participate in, oh yeah, there was a topic that I did want to cover. There's another testnet you can actually get involved with.
Atrium is the one I've done the test one on.
Atrium was that's up and running. But there wasn't
There's
any
a second. They've got two test nets. They've got two tests. The first one is complete. Second one is the NFT one. It's supposed to be going live on the 5th of June.
Is that hitting mainnet on the 5th of June? Because the
5th of
incentive
June, I think it's the second test net.
the second testnet, I thought that was already starting.
Oh, is it? I better have a look then. Yeah.
I think that was earlier. Well, I may be wrong. Yeah, but that's worth a look. Certainly Atrium are well worth a look at. But no, there was another project that's got a testnet that I thought was worth you playing with. I'll try next week.
Is it Maze?
No,
M-A-Y-Z.
that was a good one you pointed out to me. I haven't done my research on that yet, but that's a good one to look at. Yeah, and it'll be in my browser history, and I'll dig it out for next week. But yeah, so much to look at, so much to talk about. You got to filter it at some point. But yeah, thanks for joining.
I must say, there's lots of changes taking place, so it's difficult to keep up with everything. So I think you've got to prioritize.
Yeah, you got to pick at some point something to focus on. So yeah, I'm happy with the way things are looking. A lot of the crypto news, a lot of the Cardano social media stuff is quite down in the dumps about the price action in ADA, but
yeah,
price isn't everything. Utility is everything, and we've got so much utility that the price will follow. So I've got no.
Having said that, since yesterday and this morning particularly, Cardano has gone up to 48 cents now. So market's been coming back again, second time round since yesterday.
Yeah, I've had a nice little bump overnight. So I think we're waiting for Bitcoin to break its recent high.
But I must say, when I compare with XRP, there's so much going on XRP in terms of its legal case outcome and all that, but it's not moving. Whereas Cardano has moved about a bit.
Yeah, yeah, Cardano's got so much development going on that I think
Yeah.
it's going to be more moving. It's not like Solana where there's a whole load of like mass media interest. And, Solana's the golden child of the media, it
I
seems,
think,
crypto media at the moment.
yeah, I must say,
It's always been in the bad books of all the media, but yeah,
I
news.
must say, when I looked at, as you experience traveling through this space, you go through these hype cycles, and then you suddenly realize that a lot of these price actions are based on who's in the focus at this point in time. So Solana has been in focus for the past year, for various reasons. The previous previous cycle, Ethereum was like the golden child. Now Solana is like the golden child for this cycle, and Cardano did a boom and bust in this cycle, and it's starting to find its way up. But it actually, what I've found, having enrolled since this Cardano summit, and I met yourself, I've sort of I've looked at the ground level what's happening, with the all the different projects coming up in tap tools, and that's where you see the real growth of the blockchain, not in the price. Yeah, whereas in all the other cases, all you see is the Ethereum price and Solana price, but actually, what you get most out of it is when you start to look at the project or the blockchain at the ground level where it's being built on, with different projects coming online. So I'm seeing Cardano blockchain developing from ground up, and I think that's a different learning curve compared to just looking at the price charts and price actions.
Yeah, definitely. And my opinion is when we hit sort of $3 at the peak last bull cycle, we didn't have utility then. It was very, very quiet in terms of development. There was only staking, and we just managed to get smart contract functionality out as we sort of hit that peak. And so, if we can hit that high with no utility, certainly there's a lot of fluff in there. I think a lot of just market excitement and hope for something. But I think if we can hit that high, then this cycle round, with all the utility we have now, it's such a different chain to what it was 3-4 years ago. We're in a good place, and I don't want price action that is massive pump, massive fluff, and then dump. I'd much rather just have slow, steady climb.
So I've always seen Cardano as a slow, steady price action climb, but when it takes off, it really does take off. I've seen it in on two occasions when it took off from 37 cents to 68, and then 67 to 147, and it just like, wow, it just did it in exponential terms. So when it does take off, it does take off. So I think seeing the blockchain coming up from the ground up, it's a bigger learning curve than looking at the price actions. And
the fundamentals are where the importance lies. You're actually building, and of course with governance coming in as well this season, I think we've got a really good case for creating a stable base to build multiple businesses from, multiple new business sectors from as well.
Good. Excellent.
Great. Well, thanks for joining. We're back next week, and